welcome in. It's another edition of the Panther Prowl, episode number 5 on the SDH Network. I'm Jason Longshore. Thanks for hanging out with us for another deep dive into Georgia State University soccer. Today, you're going to hear from Georgia State men's head coach Brett Surrency as the Panthers prepare to host USC Upstate at the GSU Soccer Complex on Friday night before traveling up the road to face Wofford next Tuesday. You're also going to hear from Georgia State women's soccer goal-scoring sensation Taylor Vance as the Georgia State Panthers on the women's side prepare to head down to Macon to face the Mercer Bears on Thursday night before coming back to Atlanta to host South Carolina. Let's start with our interview, myself and Madison Crews, with Taylor Vance. Let's start with the run you've been on here lately. A couple of goals in the last 2 games. What has it been like contributing in that way to your group right now?
Honestly, it's just something new. I came from defense and now I'm an outside mid. So it's honestly just about taking the opportunities, and when I'm put on the field, giving it my all and having a good mentality and just finishing the crosses that my teammates put in and giving those extra runs so that I can be a part of the team and help us, win games.
When you're making that run and you see the opportunity brewing, what are the triggers for you in those moments?
So the triggers for me is when our teammate is driving down the sideline, and we work on crossing a lot, so I know that eventually they're going to cross the ball into the net, and it's just driving as fast and hard as I possibly can while staying on sides and just putting my body in front of the ball wherever I can.
So it's been kind of an up and down season this year, but it feels like it's turning into the right direction. You're getting players back as well who have been out injured. What's the vibe in the group right now as you get ready for Mercer and South Carolina this week?
So honestly, we're all just coming in with positive mindsets and just at practice giving it our all, encouraging each other, and knowing that if you're on the bench, if you're on the field, it's positivity and it's just giving your all. And we're getting used to playing with each other again, coming back from the summer. And I feel like we're now getting on the right track. And it's nice having our players come back from injuries, and we're all just working well together.
I want to go back to last year and even before that, when you made the decision to come to Georgia State from Frisco with your sister. What was the whole process like that led you to Atlanta?
So obviously the recruiting process is very difficult, and you kind of have to visit and know where you want to go, and going away from home is really scary, but it's also a great opportunity, especially doing it with my twin, which makes it 100 times easier and better. And we love Atlanta, we love the coaches here and our teammates, and we just felt like it was the right fit for us. So that's basically it with us.
I want to go back and a little bit, so you mentioned that you transitioned more from that defensive player to now being a little bit more of that attacking mindset. How difficult was that transition for you?
I would say it wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be, just because when I was playing in high school and club, I was also an attacking player too, so I'd give it a shot at the center mid and the outside mid depending on the game. And my speed and just my drive to run helps a lot, so I feel like it wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be.
You've had a couple of games. Obviously, you had Kennesaw State, then you have Presbyterian. Going up against another team like Mercer, an in-state rivalry, does that kind of alleviate the next game a little bit when you head into a match like that, the in-state rivalry?
Yeah, it honestly makes our team really excited. And as soon as we get here, we're all pumped and just screaming and dancing and getting ready for the game. And warm-ups are so much fun. We're all just encouraging each other, shooting the ball, trying to do the best we can do so that when we step onto the field, it's like we're all completely focused on the game and cheering each other on and wanting to just beat the other team.
It's got to be interesting, especially with how intertwined everything is with a lot of the local colleges, from Kennesaw State to Mercer to Georgia State to then a lot of the high schools in the area.
Yeah.
You get a lot of that local talent. Is it weird getting the chance look across the field and say, oh, I played against you in high school, or I played against you in the club level or something?
Yeah, so a lot of our teammates, they're very local, so after the field you have about maybe 4 to 5 girls who are going and hugging each other, and they played with each other, and it's nice. It's a really nice environment to be in too.
How many players from your youth and your high school experience are you seeing around this area now?
From Texas,
Yeah.
I would say maybe like 2 to 3. I have some farther up north, but most of them kind of stuck around like the Oklahoma, Texas area. And now we've had some transfers, and they're all like kind of moving closer to Atlanta, which is nice. I mean, it's nice seeing new faces, especially people like when we play Ole Miss, you have Hattie Patterson, who we played against and who played on Ariana's team.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Did you and Ariana play club together?
We played high school together.
Okay.
Yeah, but we did play each other in club.
Okay.
We were all high school together.
Was it part of the process, or did it happen kind of independently that you all ended up here?
So we ended up playing a showcase, and that's when our coaches both looked at me and Caitlin for different games. And then we went on our visit, and we talked to Ariana, and she plays on the Puerto Rican national team. And Alondra also plays, so they know each other. And she was like, yeah, well, you guys are going on a visit, and there's a camp. So she went to the camp, and they automatically looked at her, and they're like, she's insane. So
That's awesome how it all comes together that
Yeah.
way. Did you always want to go and play in college with your sister, or what was that like?
it's very different in high school, being a twin and especially being an athlete together and playing on the same team, because you kind of have to make a name for yourself as an individual, because you both have different, benefits on the field. At first, we were kind of looking to go separate. We were kind of done with getting grouped together. And then as soon as senior year hit, we were just like, we want to stay together. And it was perfect that Georgia State was the opportunity for us, and now we wouldn't take it back.
Let's start with this week, bouncing back after the Memphis game, which was strange and weird, and I'm sure it was extremely frustrating as well. What was your message to the group when you got back out on the training pitch?
Yeah, it's a tough one because I agree with you. Soccer could be cruel at times. I thought we did some really good things, but in crucial moments, Memphis ended up being better than us on the day. So, that's the game. I think it's taking the positives from it, and obviously there's always still things we can improve on and be better at. So the aim today was kind of bringing the juice and bringing the energy, and I think showing to the team that, look, it's still early in the season. We're still a really talented team, but we got to get going and show a sense of urgency. So, for our side of things, from a staff perspective, we wanted to make sure that started with us and hopefully filtered into the team.
The attacking part of the group, it seems like it just hasn't been firing yet this season. Is there anything, as you guys have looked back at it, that you found that you want to work towards and grow?
I think we're getting better. It just might not be as quick as we want to. I do think there's some moments where we certainly could have been sharper. I mean, there's a reason why the guys that can do it really well make a ton of money, because it's really hard. So it's sort of that last piece. But even looking at the game on Sunday, I thought we were dangerous in a lot of ways. We had almost 30 crosses into the box. When you start getting a little bit nitpicky, it was maybe some of the timing and the runs in the box. And, so there's certainly things to build upon. But look, at the end of the day, you got to score goals to win games. So it's certainly something that we've tried to put a focus on. And I do think we're improving. It's like anything else. Sometimes it doesn't come as quick as you want it to. But, I do see progress in those areas.
I know in some of these moments, it can be a little bit of a test and something that can actually bring a team together. Are you seeing guys step up that have maybe surprised you a little bit in trying to drive the group forward?
Well, I think that's what a lot about what today was, to be honest with you, is taking a step back and saying, let's not be content and satisfied with playing a good brand. Let's find the little things that it takes to win games. And I think that, for us is that next step is like, okay, like maybe it doesn't look great and maybe it's not the beautiful game per se, but at the end of the day, I'll take a 1-0 ugly win, than a 3-1, beautiful game type performance. And I think there's a balance in there for sure. It's not going to be us just turning it on its head and doing something different, but it is adding to what we are. And I think that edge and killer instinct is certainly something that we can add to our game.
I know you guys have battled with injuries as well, and it's something that every college program goes through, and the way the season's constructed. How is that looking for you guys, and are you starting to get guys back now that can add to the group?
Yeah, I think so. A little bit of, I'm not sure. I think still confident the guys are close for the most part. But yeah, it's what you said. It's college soccer. You know, when you play 2 and sometimes 3 games a week, it's going to happen. You know, because there's still that balance of needing to train and you know, finding your time to work on things. And so, look, it just comes with the territory. I've done it long enough to know that it's going to happen, and you know, you can cry about it, or you can try and figure it out. And you know, our message to the guys is treat it as an opportunity. You know, give guys chances to prove why they should be considered in those positions, and hope they meet the challenge.
With the new rules kind of coming in next year with roster limits and stuff, how much more challenging does it make that process of balancing training, games, injuries, fatigue?
Yeah, and I think couple that with the substitution stuff as well too. There's a lot of newness. In terms of the roster stuff, we're trying to figure it out. I think by the sounds of it, like most people around the country, it's making for some really challenging planning, and yeah, we don't have all the information. I don't think anybody does. So you're trying to put together a puzzle without all the pieces, you know, so doing your best to forecast what may happen in this instance and what may happen in this instance, and maybe trying to find a healthy medium. But yeah, I don't know, to answer your question. We'll hopefully find out sooner than later.
Yeah, you're not the only one. It sounds like it's been a challenge all across the board. Tell me about that substitution rule and how you're liking it so far. It feels like there's some good in it, but it also feels like the games are longer than they have been in the past.
It's interesting. I think it's taken us a little while to adjust to it. And a lot of teams, to be honest with you, I've seen some very interesting strategies, you know, and we try and pay attention, you know, to see what other teams are doing as well too. I think it has slowed the pace of the game down a little bit, you know, because now it's not like, hey, Jason, go run around for 5 minutes and then you can come back out, and then in the second half we'll do it again twice. You know, so the pace of the game probably has slowed down a little bit. You know, it probably goes hand in hand with the 28-man roster as well. So yeah, it was just a lot at once. You know, because there's obviously the windows, and then there's the no re-entry, and then there's the, instead of 5 minutes, now it's 15 minutes, and you can sub whenever you want now in terms of natural stoppages. So there was a lot. So it wasn't really getting acclimated to one thing, it was getting acclimated to a lot of different things. So it's been an adjustment. I feel like we're probably still figuring it out a little bit, but at the same time comfortable with sort of how we've handled it.
I want to get back to the coaching side of it, because it's always fascinating to me how coaches put together their plan and all of the constraints that you have to deal with, I mean, things like having practice move up a little bit because guys have class. You know, like, how do you manage all of that with your staff day to day, week to week, month to month, and season to season when you create your plans?
Yeah, it's probably a little bit of big picture planning, and then you sort of work your way down from there. So, you know, when the guys come back, you know, we'll give them an entire schedule from a training and travel and all of that sort of broad. And then as we get closer, we reevaluate, you know, on a week to week sort of thing. And then, you know, for instance, like you just mentioned there, we've got some guys that needed to get to class early. So yesterday we were like, hey, show up 15 minutes early so that we can get these guys a little bit more time from a training perspective. So yeah, I think you have to have an element of flexibility, you know, but there needs to be a balance of planning and you know, me personally as an individual, I like to plan and have some things set, knowing that it may change. You know, as simple as, what if it rained today? You know, what if it was lightning? So, you know, you have to have an element of being able to change on the fly as well too. So, you know, I feel like we've done this long enough, and thankfully for where we're located in terms of our facility, we have everything right here, so we can pivot pretty quickly to do something that may still be productive. So again, maybe there's lightning today, well, we'll go in and watch film. So because we have, you know, things queued up to where if we need to, we can do that. So yeah, I mean, I also think just dealing with college age kids that are doing more than just soccer. You know, we're not professionals, although it seems like we're moving in that direction
a little bit.
But you know, these guys have class and they have a social life and they have soccer as well too. So they have a lot going on. So I think trying to be respectful of what that is and allowing them to create balance in their lives is important as well too.
I want to ask you about Matt Taylor as well. He's been on a good little streak here with a couple of goals. One of the things he said to us when we interviewed him is he wanted to be more consistent and be more productive. He felt like he hasn't been able to get there yet. how have you kind of rated his season so far?
Well, I think what he said there is probably the biggest challenge of teams and individuals, isn't it? Like the top teams and the top players are consistent. You know what you're going to get from them day to day. And, you know, from a coaching perspective, you know, we really value consistency because, you know, if I'm putting you on, Jason, I know what I'm getting from you. You know, and if it's one day you're, you know, really great and one day you're the opposite end, then that becomes a challenge for us in terms of how do we look at things through our own lens. Are you an optimist and like we'll get the best out of him today, or are you pessimist? And you know, so to his point, yeah, Matty is uber talented. I think keeping him healthy has been a big part of it as well too, and you know, keeping him confident as well. And you know, there's no reason he shouldn't be now, where he's got 2 goals in the last whatever it's been week and a half or something along those lines. And I mean, he's such a powerful, athletic individual that you know, he can be quite a force. So if we can get the best version of Matt Taylor, it definitely makes our program better.
You talked a little bit about the leadership and looking to others. Is there anyone in particular that you've noticed really step up in that role and have really made that impact and that change this season?
Well, I think you have different forms of leadership. You have voice, and you have you know, guys that are examples as well too. You know, I'll start with the example side. I think Gavin Williams has been really good in every single game. So and he works incredibly hard. And you know, when you know, you have some of your more talented players also have your higher levels of work rate, you know, it's easy to buy into those guys. So I think guys look around and, you know, they can see that from a motivational perspective. And then I think you have guys from a voice side of things as well too in the locker room. You know, Charlie Ward and Tom Williams are our captains, and you know, they're respected voices in the locker room, and you know, guys that have been around for a while and been a part of successful teams as well too. So you know, I think when, you know, younger guys or new guys are looking for some guidance, you know, there's some examples and there's some voices as well too that hopefully pushes them in the right direction.
Having 2 results that haven't gone the way you guys wanted to, how important is it to have captains like Charlie Ward there to help lift the team up a little bit, but also to be like that second voice on the pitch during those moments?
No, exactly, and I think there's a good alignment from, you know, the staff side of things and the captains as well too. You know, when we've talked to those guys even in the beginning of the year, it's important that you know, they're the bridge between us and the players and the other direction as well too. So look, adversity happens for each team throughout the year. It just may happen at different times, you know. So for us, it's believing in the process and believing in the culture and the ability in the locker room and who those people are to know that we'll turn around and get it right. And you know, we've had some waves, if you will, to begin the season, and you know, keeping a good mentality and good mindset will help us break those. And you know, once we turn that momentum into positivity, I think it'll be tough for us to get away from that as well.